brand new year always kicks off with a lot of anticipation. This year in particular, we have still not fully come out of the pandemic. And so there's also a little bit of apprehension, but yet the automobile industry rolls on with big plans and a whole lot of excitement because, hey, the good news is customers, the demand, the excitement from that side has not ebbed. Thank you for joining us. It's a special interaction, the first one of the new year for me. So I'm very pleased that it also starts with someone who has been a regular with us over the last year and a half, right through this whole, virtual interviews that we've been doing. Balbir Singh Dhillon from Audi India. Good to see you, Balbir. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Siddharth. Likewise, I think it's also mine first interview, which is live. So it's just a coincidence, but happy to be with you always.
Well, I mean, first alphabet of the first alphabet of all the alphabets, Audi. So it's also a good omen from that point of view. Thank you. I was just saying that despite the fact that things around us, once again, are a little bit worrying, that silver lining never sort of disappeared from the auto space, which was not something we thought 18 months ago, especially when, you had a situation where everything had shut down in the middle of 2020, literally sales, production, everything has shut down. When we were looking at, the horizon from there, it looked very bleak, but 2021 has surprised many people.
Absolutely. So I would say that, the preparation for manufacturers, the preparation for the customers, the knowledge that we had gained, and by and large, large population is vaccinated. So there are multiple factors that have come to play. And with the, I would say, increasing disposable income in the hands of customers, international travel is still not happening to the extent it's supposed to be. So how do you rejuvenate yourself with your family? So car becomes one of the method or one of the ways you explore the country itself. Within India, you travel in car, and of course that is also something which has played quite a bit. And businesses in general doing well because, let's say, most of our customers come from business community, so a lot of startups coming up. So everything is, I think, supporting the whole customer sentiment, which was positive. As you mentioned, we still are a little bit of a tight situation at this point in time, but we also know, yes, the number of cases are very high, but the hospitalization is not to that extent. So I'm still very positive. I think when it goes up, the cases goes up, definitely customers are cautious about coming to dealerships. Little bit test drives, let's say, go down. But in general, there is still a lot of positivity. We still have cars on waiting, and the number of cars that we've sold last year or what we are anticipating to sell this year, we are definitely very, very positive.
All right. So, you've set it up nicely. Let's talk about all of those things, because I know, of course, everybody wants to know about new product, and we'll get to that. You have the Q7 just driving in too. But before I go down that road, the whole experience, of course, has taught us a lot over the last 18, 20 months. But when you were planning, pre-pandemic, of where you wanted to see Audi in terms of the local market portfolio, also in terms of, of course, volumes and share, etc. Again, I'm saying pre-pandemic. Are you then still, compared to that planning, are you happy with where you are right now?
To be honest, I would say yes and no. On both sides, happy because we had planned switching ourselves from diesel plus petrol company to petrol plus electric company. So to that extent, the plans actually worked perfectly fine, because we went through the cycle where we changed this, and this is the also time when the pandemic hit us. So not happy because some of our homologation process, which would have ended, let's say, in 9 months time, took 15 months time. So those kind of things I was not happy about. So of course, these things do take a toll on introduction of new models. But whatever said and done, that time is gone. So I don't even want to look too much backwards. I think it's time to look forward. But where we are today, I'm extremely happy with the products that we've already launched. We are I can say with proud that Audi is the only manufacturer today who has launched 5 electric cars last year. And we are doing so well in that portfolio. So I think things are working well for us, and customers are happy with the product offerings that we brought in for them. And I'm sure going forward, it will only become better.
This whole sort of, I know the press has called it like a revival of sorts at Audi, but you have, of course, mentioned that it was also the crucial switchover from leaving sort of diesel behind in your portfolio. Started with the Q8, we've seen even cars like the RS Q8 drive in. But there's always been a lot of murmur about how this has all been at the top end of the pyramid. You had talked about that, saying initially that's where the focus will be. You'll bring in a lot of variety for perhaps a lesser number of buyers or customers. But we also saw the updates like the A4, etc., coming in. Will 2022 then become the year where you focus your attention more on the compact or the smaller cars?
You're absolutely right. When we spoke about this topic, let me give you a little bit of perspective. You're right. When we were making this change, it is always easier and faster to bring in the FBU cars, fully built cars. We could bring them quickly because the homologation was taking time. So obviously that was because of that reason. And also, last year or the year before, we've also worked on top-down strategy. So when we are making our brand stronger in the market, when we are making offering to our customers, we also want to start from the top. And that's what we've done last year's 2 years. What we are doing now is we are bringing other models now. Last year we launched the new A4, followed by the sport bike S5, the RS5, apart from the electric cars. And towards the end of last year, we also launched the Audi Q5. And we are also almost on the verge of launching the Audi Q7. And I'm so looking forward towards this car because you all know that our customers have been really waiting for this the Q7s for a very, very long time. And Q7 has been a model where we had a resounding success for all the years from the time we've launched this car. And I'm sure it will also do really, really well. So I think in general, our portfolio is almost there now. And with full 12 months of availability of these cars this year, I'm quite sure that we will do good in terms of numbers. But numbers is just one parameter of success. As per our strategy 2025, we are very, very clearly focusing on 4 of them. In fact, you're the first one I'm discussing this topic too. We have refined our strategy 2025, where, if you remember, we had 4 pillars: customer centricity, network, products, and digitalization. We have refined it a little bit. The customer centricity, we are now making it human centricity. So not just looking at customers, but humans as a whole. The end-to-end life cycle of cars. What cars to be launched? How do we take care of environment? So that is something which is refined. And the second pillar that we've changed is product to product and services. So this is something which we will going forward also focus. So you're the one I'm discussing this for the first time. So these are 2 change points that we have starting this year, and you will see a lot from our side happening on this topic.
And then, of course, the whole focus on electrification. I mean, yes, you are the only brand who has sort of done it. We've talked about this before. I have said it myself, where it's really surprised so many people. The fact that, you didn't just do a token launch, but you've been sort of bringing in one after the other, a whole lot of models. What about that? I mean, you won't take your foot off that, I can't say gas. You won't take your foot off that electric pedal.
Sorry, I couldn't get your last question. Can you please repeat?
Sure. I was talking about how you've surprised a lot of people when you brought in so many electric models. There was, a lot of people who've done token launches of just one flagship, but you've really sort of, put your money where your mouth is when it comes to electrification. What sort of impetus can we expect on that front in 2022?
So you're absolutely right. When we made this strategy to switch to electric plus petrol variants, it was a very bold step, because you see, luxury segment still is dominated with diesel technology, and we were the first one to make that announcement, and that was a bold step. And of course, it has to be backed up by the number of products that we can make and offer. And any product that is launched in any country, you have to serve that product through the life cycle. So it is our commitment for our customers. We were the first one to also bring in many support programs for our customers. Let's say 2 charges that we were giving in the car, the best resale value we were offering, the warranty products, anything which customer had apprehensions about, we had taken care at the time of launches. So this we have done already. Now this year we will continue to sell these models, because the kind of demand that we saw with these products, I can only say on a hindsight that I think our planning was not really great. We would have, if we had 2 or 3 times the car that we had brought into the country, we would have sold those cars. But said that, I think the coming year, which is current year, we will sell probably 3 times or maybe even 4 times than the cars we've sold last year. So that's the kind of strength we have on our thoughts. And I'm sure our customers will be happy, and we'll sell these many cars this year.
So that is good news, because, like I said, it wasn't about just doing a token launch. I know you won't give me exact numbers, Balbir, but can you tell me in terms of like a percentage where electrics will be for you as a portfolio for 22 versus 21? I know it wasn't a full year in 21, but still.
So I think it's this will be a bit unfair at this point in time to give a percentage. What I can tell you, which you already might be knowing, is that we want to achieve 15% of our sales through electric cars by the year 2025. That's where we are heading towards, and we are heading towards very, very positively. And if the policies remain stable, if the infrastructure of charging is growing strongly, maybe we are able to achieve this earlier as well. That would be our intention, because of course, with to reach those 15%, whatever we've launched will not be the only cars that we will have. We'll have more electric cars coming to India, but there is still a time to announce those cars. So that's what the plan is at this point in time.
But having said that, 22, will we get a new electric model from Audi in this calendar year?
Let's keep the new models launches a little bit in abeyance, because as of now, I can only share with you that we are almost on the verge of launching the new Q7. Any further new models, I think I'll have to keep my mouth shut for the time being.
Okay, fair enough. The Q7, of course, has been synonymous with Audi, not just here in India, but in many, many markets. The United States, for example, huge success with that car. Here in India, like I said, it was literally the car to have for a lot of buyers for the longest time. What are your expectations? Again, the fact that there isn't going to be a diesel one, how does that play for you?
Well, when we decided to move away from diesel in this segment, where we're selling almost, let's say, 60 to 70% cars at diesel cars, and the kind of doubts we had at that point in time, but not anymore. Now, for last 2 years, the way we have been able to sell cars in India, whether it is SUV or sedans, in only petrol and of course electric cars, there is absolutely no problems at all. All our customers have been accepting the petrol variants with the same zeal. And I do not come across my dealerships telling me that they are not able to sell because, or we've lost a customer because we did not have diesel. Said that, maybe a few customers are very clear about diesel. We are fine with that, but we have absolutely no problems where the acceptability of petrol in SUVs is not there. We are a resounding success of Audi Q8, RS Q8, and other models which are now we are offering only in petrol. In fact, for many of the models we are sold out. So this is the kind of demand that we are seeing on one side, but acceptability on the fuel right now is absolutely not a problem. So we are really looking forward for the new Q7. In fact, it comes with a 3-liter petrol engine and a very powerful engine. I'm sure you will. I think you've driven it already. You can give me some feelers.
I have driven it, and I was very happy to have got my hands on it early enough, because yeah, you're right. When it comes to the Q7, there's almost like this overriding expectation because of the model's massive reputation. So no, it is good. And the 3-liter engine certainly doesn't disappoint. So from that perspective, I think there's enough grunt and power that people will be happy with. Q5, you mentioned as well, recently came in the updated facelift car. How's the performance been there?
Absolutely amazing. To be honest, again, let's say blame a little bit on semiconductor shortages as well. At this point in time, getting more and more production is definitely a challenge for everybody globally. So we already, again, I'm mentioning the same thing multiple times. Then again, we, whatever we got initially, that got sold off. So now we are booking the cars for the month of March. So that's how the demand and supply situation at this point in time. So unprecedented demand. People have really liked the car, and very positive response. I mean, we are really almost on a routine basis. I personally keep getting calls to give more cars, which we are trying our best. So far, we've been successfully also able to do. Headquarters has been very supportive to us in giving us the cars that we wanted. But somewhere or the other, there is definitely some impact, which also is the reality of today.
You brought me to the semiconductor topic, which I would anyway have asked you, because I know that that shadow continues to loom over the industry. Before I talk about how you're dealing with that, because some of it is not really even in your control, I understand. But when it comes to allocation, from the headquarters, given that the pressure is global, how does that change that equation for you? I mean, how much tougher is it for you to say, hey, I got sold out on the Q5, and I want to get more aggressive on my orders for the kits? So how is that playing out? Or is there a good understanding now, since we've had so many months of semiconductor shortage?
So in general, these are discussions that are happening with headquarters on almost on a weekly basis, if not more. And I can only tell you that the supply situation and the demand is globally, the demand at this point in time is more than supply. That's how it is today.
Yeah.
And of course, every country gets an allocation which is planned by headquarters. And so far, I would say they have been kind, and we've been getting decent number of cars. Not much of an impact so far, but it's not zero. So we are getting decent supplies, not a problem.
And when it comes to the production itself, I mean, the plant in Aurangabad, the reason I ask this is because it so happens that in the last, just a couple of months, we've seen literally every group brand bringing out, a model that's coming out of Aurangabad. So is there any pressure from that perspective as well?
Not at all. Not at all. We are more than happy to bring more models. So recently, I mean, very recently, twice I had to go to the plant, and I was so happy. And every time I go to the plant, I feel really happy. One, of course, to meet the team members who make these cars in India, and of course, to launch a new model when it just comes out from production, very fresh. And that feeling is very, very emotional. And especially when it was last time, it was for Q7. I was so thrilled and so emotional about this model, because when I started my career at Audi India way back in 2007, at that point in time, this was one of the models which we were selling really, really well. And my bonding with the brand also comes in from Audi Q7.
It was the it car, and I remember that. And, I must tell you, I saw your picture, the one that came out of the press release from the plant. And I had the same thought that it has been several years since I've been to that plant. So, once things are a little normal, maybe your next visit to the plant, I'll join you.
Absolutely. Most welcome.
Okay, so we've talked about what's happening right now with the SUV portfolio. We keep sort of flirting with this conversation on sedans, right? Because while on the one hand, I know the press loves to say, hey, it's all about SUVs and customers are interested, but yet we see a fair amount of interest, especially in the premium space, that stays with the sedans. A4, of course, we just talked about it, but is there a case for you to also start looking again at building certain volume from sedans, or are you very happy to focus on the SUVs for now?
Not at all. So our supply on the sedan side is, let's say, when all the models are available, we still sell more than 50% sedans. So that's how in the luxury space, the demand for sedans and SUVs is almost equal. Some percentage up and down here and there, but by and large, the demand is equal for sedans and SUVs. I think primarily also because mostly the sedans are driven and SUVs are self-driving. So this combination still works in multiple, let's say, category A, category B, category C towns. But most of our buyers are also youngsters, so they also tend to drive these cars. But I think that going forward also the demand probably would be remaining 50-50. 5% plus minus here and there, but in general, I think our focus on both the models will be equal.
Okay, so that's good to know, because you're right. Of course, the sales have been pretty much neck and neck across brands, and this brings me to the point about the fact that we are now living in almost like a different world when it comes to both the customer engagement as well as customer experience. The retail experience as well. There's been a lot of talk about Mercedes going and changing its retail model. We spoke about this the last time as well. But given this whole space being so sort of almost in a flux, I won't say it's volatile. For your dealers, what's your message? Because on the one hand, while you have all these tools now, home test drives, lots of digital buying tools, augmented reality and stuff like that. Even your used portfolio doing so well now, the Approved Plus. In that scenario, what do you tell your dealers? Because the customer is there, the demand is there, but sometimes the supply isn't.
In the luxury space, I think the most important thing which we all always remember is emotional connect with the customers or potential buyers. So whatever engagement happens in this whole cycle, even if it is digital, at the end it ends with emotions. So customers do research the cars online, but eventually they come to the dealership because this is one of the you arrive in your life when you buy a luxury car. That's how in India it has been. Every time you buy a luxury car, it's a statement for self, not for others. And this happens with a lot of emotions, with family fully involved. So our message to the dealer always has been a constant engagement, to give them the right information, be truthful to the customers. In today's world, if somebody comes to me and tells me this is the problem, but he tells me upfront on my face, and he is honest with me, I'll be accepting the fact, because it is not because of me something is getting delayed. It's the whole scenario is like this. So I think being honest with the potential buyers or existing customer is the only message that I try to give every time to my dealers, that whenever you're interacting with the customer, be honest with them, tell them everything upfront. I'm sure customers do understand that there are supply constraints sometimes, and they have to wait. We have not seen this kind of waiting period in the past. Because normally customer would just come in and buy cars, and whatever that 1 week's transaction time that happens, and then you carry on. But nowadays, sometimes the waiting is 2 months, sometimes even it is 6 months for certain models. And keeping engaged our customers or prospective buyers during that time is our responsibility, and that's what I always tell my dealers.
And so, the last point would be about bringing you right back to new product launches. How difficult is it then to plan for a new model? Because yes, there are delays that are out of your control, but at the same time, the market is so hungry, supply being an issue still. How do you then plan for your new model introductions?
So new model introduction at this point in time is not a problem. It's only the number of cars for each model that you get is a little bit of a problem because of semiconductor shortage. So I think we are absolutely on our track to whatever we need to launch this year. You will see many products coming this year as well from our side, whether it is volume product or niche products. You will see both sides of this story. So that's not an issue at all. It's only that we are struggling, let's say, or fighting every day with the headquarters to get even one extra car that we can get for our customers. That's the challenge, not the launches. Launches will happen on time.
So, Balbir, I have to say that you have a bit of a reputation as a brand, and even you yourself, to say at the start of the year that, oh, this year we're going to launch X number of models. So do you want to tell me that number?
No, not today.
No, nothing like 22 models for 22.
No. At this point in time, I think
that's a stretch.
The whole focus is on Audi Q7, and we are so looking forward to launching this car, and it's going to happen early February. That much I can tell you. So let's wait for that. And this is the I would say one of the biggest launch that we'll have this year.
All right. So I'll not give up. I'll ask you one last question and try one more time and just say this, that, we know the next launch is an SUV, it's the Q7. But Q7 notwithstanding, SUV, sedan, electric, can I just safely assume that you'll have launches in all three?
A bit tricky question, but I will. So
just say yes.
As I said, niche as well as volume models, sedans and SUVs. I think I'll limit my answer to this. So let's figure out what you make out of it.
Brain's already ticking. I can already start to see certain cars driving by in my mind, but that's how I am. No, but this is going to still be there for an exciting year. I know it'll have its own challenges. But last thing then, how do you see the year panning out? Where do you see yourself this time next year as a brand?
So in terms of this year's performance, we are quite optimistic of the fact, because we recently launched the Audi Q5 at the end of last year, so full year availability of that model. We're about to launch the Audi Q7, so full year availability apart from all the other models. So I'm very, very optimistic for this year. And I definitely see a high double-digit growth this year as well. I'm sure our customers will love our new products and continue to buy more and more cars.
I can't wait to keep driving them. That much I can tell you. Thank you so much, Balbir. I know it's sounds easy to sit here and talk about it, but I know that on ground it's going to be a tough year still. So we do wish you all the best for that.
Thank you so much.
And good luck with the Q7. I mean, I think the luck you need is to just get more cars to more customers.
Absolutely. Bang on. Nice talking to you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Likewise. Have a great year ahead. Thank you so much.